Sorry, I'm just trying to get us going.
Hey, y'all. Gabriel from Cross Politics. The music just sounds so different. Pastor Toby, Chalk Knox, the Water Boy. Good to be with you on the Midweek Fix on the Fight Laugh Feast Network.
Have you ever done this before?
Close on Sunday.
Well,
You're my Chick-fil-A.
for now, they're closed on Sunday. We don't know if that's going to continue to be the case.
They'd be restructuring their hours. They're restructuring their hours. Don't worry, they're not changing anything. They're just restructuring their hours.
Okay.
And they're thinking about, they want to be welcoming to all the days of the week.
Right, because you never know.
Because they want to make it clear to their new markets, or you'd be giving them the bag. Hey, this show is brought to you by Ely Construction. If you've been looking for a job in Moscow,
Which you should be.
you got 10 or more years of full-time residential construction experience. If you love remodeling and would consider moving to the town,
Just say it. Just say it.
recently voted best small town in America to raise a family.
Yeah, but
Ely Construction has a lead carpenter position for you to consider. Go to elyconstruction.com/lead for details.
and if my boy Nathaniel, he's a good boss. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
He's good people.
He's a deacon in our church.
Yeah.
He serves as a deacon. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. And also we got we're going down on our pint list here. So for club members who sign up for club membership, you still can get a pint, but it's going. Supplies are dwindling.
Okay.
But as you guys sign up, we actually got some things coming up in December that we're going to be working on. I haven't even told you guys about.
What?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Like
that's what I
usual.
do. So
Like
join
usual.
the club, support Christian media.
Yeah, we sure appreciate all the
Yeah.
club members. And if you're not a club member yet, what's wrong with you people?
Where's that stinger?
I'm looking
What's-
I was looking in the chat room to see.
Okay.
What?
All right. So there's
Who's
There
in
you
the who's in the chat room?
all our club members.
Fight Laugh Feast members. They
Oh.
get to watch the live show.
They're watching us live.
Yeah, they see like the hours and hours and hours of prep time we put into the show
They're
before
like,
we start.
You guys really do that?
So
Yeah.
Like,
They're long
they are
suffering.
very,
Yeah.
very bored right now.
cheers. Peace.
So one of the perks, would you call this a perk? One of the perks for club
One of the
members
punishments.
is you get to watch us record the show live on Wednesdays and Friday mornings.
Yeah.
And so Andy
See
gets
the
to ask us
behind the
questions
scenes?
behind the scenes.
Like all the ways in which we're like, no, Gabe, you can't say that. No,
Yeah.
Gabe, you can't say that. No, Gabe, you can't. Stop it. No. That's
It's how the sausage gets made. Don't you like that?
Yeah.
And we make some good sausage.
But
All right.
we don't make chicken.
Oh, that's a good segue into Chick-fil-A. that's really good. Let me get my notes right. All right, so this Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday.
Yeah.
Monday, Chick-fil-A came out with just a innocent little statement on their own website,
Oh no.
and they
He's not
said
innocent.
they're excited to announce. So they reviewed where their foundation money, where their donation money went last year.
Right.
And they're excited to announce kind of their new foundation, where their foundation money is going to go this year in 2020.
So excited.
Right? So
I don't
excited.
think they're as excited anymore.
Well,
I hope that it's been a hellish
And-
few days.
so,
at
hey, be
corporate
nice.
offices.
I got some friends
Really?
that work for Chick-fil-A. You know, I've emailed with Dan before.
Are you capitulating too?
No.
Are you?
Hang
Why
on.
are you? What am I doing there?
Hang on. We're going to get there.
Okay, all right.
So they said that this next year their money's going to go towards education, support Junior Achievement USA. It's a kindergarten through 12th grade programs, and then they said they're going to focus on homelessness and hunger. So there are three areas:
Education, homelessness, and hunger.
That's right.
And they're giving to the Covenant
House International,
which explicitly is affirming of LGBT perversion.
Right. And they
they're
pulled their money from the Salvation Army.
No longer supporting Salvation Army
or Fellowship of Christian Athletes
FCA.
right now, which they I think 3 years ago they gave something like 1.5 million to FCA, and then
Salvation Army has explicitly serves homosexuals.
Right.
But is not affirming.
Well, yeah. I mean, and actually, it's funny because this is how every Christian really is. Cake bakers.
Right. We
this is
serve homosexuals.
Yeah, absolutely. And so
we just won't affirm affirm the lifestyle. We don't want to be put in a position where we're having to say what you're doing is good and healthy and right.
Like at your weddings.
Yeah.
That are really not
That's
weddings.
where we're drawing the lines.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So a couple more things before
Are you trying to defend Chick-fil-A?
I ain't said anything yet.
Try.
Come
I
on.
didn't say anything
Come
yet.
on.
All right. And then so Salvation Army came out with a response saying we're saddened to learn that our corporate partner has felt necessary to divert funding to other hunger and education and homeless organizations. So Salvation Army comes out with a statement. What's interesting about Salvation Army is they're actually a partner with Jerry Jones, Cowboys owner, for Thanksgiving. So every Thanksgiving when Cowboys does their big football game,
I didn't
Salvation
know that.
Army, yeah,
I didn't know
Salvation
that was
Army is
them. Okay,
the big partner there.
I do kind of remember. Yeah. I do kind of remember a little bit of that.
That's right. And then where's all my notes? Here we are. And then
wow, this is a big thing for you.
yeah.
He's giving a speech.
Oh man, I deleted that. That's weird. The singer that's singing at halftime for the Thanksgiving football game.
Okay.
She said, "I'm not going to sing unless the Salvation Army comes out open and affirming with LGBT community."
Okay. This is recently?
This is last week.
Okay.
Actually, it was all the way through, I think, Monday or Tuesday. She now has said, "Hey, I'm still going to sing anyways."
Okay.
So she tried to threaten, and it didn't work. But this just shows
she
you
was testing her power.
She was testing, but this also shows you that the Salvation Army is getting some good flack, the right kind of flack, right? Even if I've heard, I haven't confirmed, but even if Salvation Army might be a little weak on the LGBT stuff, they're getting the right kind of flack.
But that demonstrates that they're not that weak. If you have celebrities threatening not to sing because they don't have an affirming view, then it's like, well, yeah, maybe they cross their T's and dot their I's a little differently, but they're not that weak.
Right. And so I think it's also important to note that GLAAD came out with a statement. Like as soon as Chick-fil-A comes out with this statement, GLAAD comes out with this statement. And here's just a quote from it. He says, "In addition to refraining from financially supporting anti-LGBT organizations, Chick-fil-A still lacks policies to ensure a safe workplace for LGBT employees and should unequivocally speak out against the anti-LGBT reputation that their brand represents." So GLAAD's saying, "Hey, I'm glad they aren't supporting FCA or Salvation Army anymore."
Yeah, but that's not enough.
That's not enough.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, no, you can't appease these people.
Yep. And
there's no appeasing them. You don't say, now.
That's absolutely right.
It doesn't work that way. You can't compromise a little bit.
Yep.
With these people.
So Huckabee, and I just wanted to do one more quote here before we get into it. Huckabee says in August 2012, he tweeted this out. This is actually a tweet from Huck. He says, in August 2012, I coordinated a National Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day.
He did.
After they were being bullied by militant hate groups.
That's right.
Okay?
That's how we got the Chick-fil-A Day. I remember
Millions showed up.
That's right.
Today, Chick-fil-A betrayed loyal customers for money. I regret believing they would stay true to convictions of the founder, Truett Cathy. Sad.
Yeah. So Dan Cathy is the son of Truett Cathy.
Yeah, Truett is the founder.
The founder of
Dan
Chick-fil-A.
Cathy might be the grandson. There might be 3 generations of leadership. I can't remember. But anyways.
Okay.
But it's family.
Yeah.
And so a couple, I think, background things that I think should be pointed out first. First, Chick-fil-A has done really well for a long time standing against our sexual revolution. Right? They've for years. For a long time.
They've done really well at making chicken sandwiches. It just so happens that making good chicken sandwiches with the standard has a repercussion. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's fair to put them inside of a political category. Yeah. That's not what they're doing.
But they did step into a kind of symbol. I mean,
every business is part of a political category.
A song.
Don't be neutral.
I know that, but
when Kanye sings that,
it happened alongside what they were doing.
Well, sure,
it wasn't what they were.
Right.
It's not like they said, "Hey guys, let's open up a business to go against gay marriage."
Yeah,
right. I know.
That wasn't what they were doing.
No.
Right. But when you're a Christian, you're sanctifying the market.
I get that. I'm saying that. I'm making the same point. It's inescapable. You make a good chicken sandwich as a Christian, and you get hit all over the place.
And the orcs will come.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my point.
So they weren't.
But that wasn't the intention.
They didn't go to war.
That's my point.
They were just being faithful.
All you have to do is say, we want a place for homeless people to be able to have get up on their feet, to get a job, to learn some skills, and to be able to preach the gospel to them, and they will call you a hate group.
Sure. Yeah, that's right.
So that's all you're doing.
Right.
And by just doing that, you get hit on the other side.
And notice here too, of course, I mean, Chick-fil-A is absolutely free to give money to whoever they want to give to. They don't owe
anybody
anything.
Yeah.
The issue,
although Bernie would argue.
Yeah, unless you're talking to Bernie.
Yeah.
Or AOC. But if you're the point though is exactly what Huckabee's pointing out is that they came under fire.
Yes.
For having biblical convictions and being willing to support those financially. And the conservative Christian world came to their defense.
Yep, big time. Big time. Yep.
And celebrated their stand. And this is, I think, a complete betrayal of that.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, I've seen a bunch of people saying not so fast. It's not, they're just reorganizing the structure of their giving, and it's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah.
The thing is okay, if that's the case, if nothing has changed really, then their PR department needs to get fired.
Because
their PR department is a bunch of idiots. But the thing is I don't think they're idiots.
Yeah.
They haven't been. Have you seen their cow commercials?
They're way too intelligent for this.
Yeah, right.
And that's why I think no, absolutely not. They have capitulated.
So let's give them the best benefit of doubt I can give them is that what they're getting caught up in is an optics issue, where it looks like they're it looks like they're changing their foundation structure in a way that is more friendly to the LGBT community. That's the optics. That's what it looks like.
But that would mean really bad PR.
Yeah, really bad PR.
Like you totally put your foot in it.
Exactly. And if that's the case, if it's an optics issue, then what I would do is Chick-fil-A, I would say, hey, here's how we're donating our money this next year, and we still think the LGBT community needs to repent.
And Epstein didn't kill himself.
Right.
Like, make sure that all gets in
clearly
there.
lean into yeah, right. Make sure it all gets in there,
Yeah.
so it doesn't look like you're backing away.
Right. Or at
Because
least,
right now it looks like you're backing away.
They need to come out with another statement ASAP.
Yeah, right.
To reassure their Christian base. Otherwise, it's the what's clear is clear.
Right.
I think it's worse. I suspect it's worse than that.
Guys,
I suspect that.
Do you think this is a money thing?
I think it's two things. I think it's a money thing, and I think that I think that the hate, the leftist hate, has gotten to the company.
Okay.
I think the leaders in the company.
I disagree with you on the money thing. I agree with you on the second point.
Yeah.
Because the money thing is.
No, they said we want to get into new markets. It was in the statement.
Sure. Yeah. But
they got kicked out of London.
Yeah. They're getting kicked out. They got 30 days left or something like that.
They've been trying to move into liberal places, and they keep getting kicked out.
But see, the thing is, they got to where they're at. They're the highest grossing per store fast food chain in the world.
Right.
So
it doesn't
they're
make
making tons of money.
It doesn't make any sense, but greed doesn't make sense.
But I do think pressure has gotten to their wives.
I think
ultimately this is where it's gone. It's like they're tired of getting harassed and not being invited to the cool crowd and all that stuff. That's to me. Now that's
and they want money.
That's I do think that's imputing motives in what I'm doing. What I'm saying here.
But they said it in the statement. We are trying to get into more markets. And as we try to go into new markets, we need to be clearer about what we think. That's what it said. And clearer
about who we are as an organization
and what we think. And it was all laced through there, meaning we want to be known as a company that is totally fine with mainstream sexual values. We do not want to be known as a conservative Christian company.
I think they would say personally I wonder what they would say now, because it sounds like basically they're trying to say personally, Dan Cathy, I'm against LGBT stuff, but as a company, we want to be neutral.
That's the American morality for the last century.
Yeah,
I don't personally believe in abortion, but you can murder your babies if you want. I don't personally believe in homosexuality, but if you want to sodomize another man, it does not harm me. Okay, that's what's sinking our country.
Yeah.
That morality is worthless.
Yeah.
Part of this, when I look at it, the thing that really bothers me on this is that the battle lines have eroded this far back.
Oh yeah.
To where, listen, we know that companies have ethics. We know they have a standard. Nothing is neutral. But the people that are left to fight the battle at this point are businessmen. Yeah. That's where we're at.
That's true. So
know what I mean? Like,
if I was Chick-fil-A, here's what I would do. I absolutely agree with you on that. I would donate my foundation earnings or gifting money to ACCS schools.
Well, see,
I would donate
because
all of a sudden I would donate to Focus on the Family. I would donate to all these organizations that are absolutely polarizing as ministries in our economy, as opposed to going to some sort of bland.
Because they need that. That's what Chick-fil-A needs.
They got permission. All these. Where is it? All these
Do it live!
all these
Do it
organizations. We're gonna do it
live!
live. All these areas that they're donating to, they got permission from the world to donate to.
Yeah.
Education, everyone donates to education.
Yeah.
That's not polarizing.
Right.
Homelessness,
Yeah.
everyone takes care of the homeless. Everyone donates to the homeless. Hunger, those are all areas that they've gotten permission to. Why don't you take your money and donate to classical Christian education? Why don't you take your money and donate
to the people who are going to be on the front lines for you? Because,
Exactly.
And that's what the LGBTQ people really don't want.
Yep.
They don't want you donating to the people who are going to be on the front lines for you ultimately. And so they need to be aggressive in this, because right now what we're doing is we're sending untrained cooks out into the middle of battle to fight our wars for us. Mm-hmm. And they're great making chicken sandwiches, and we need them to make chicken sandwiches, and we need them for morale. But what we can't have them doing is being the very center, right, of the fight.
Yep.
And so right now we're having an argument, and I'm with this. We're seeing the erosion happen, and we're seeing the place that we know right now is one of our last stops eroding too.
Right.
And I don't expect the part of the center part of the tooth.
Fast food restaurants weren't meant to be the spearhead.
They weren't
meant to be the tip of the spear.
They are meant to give sandwiches out, cook sandwiches. That's right.
And so that's not relieving any of the pressure that they have. I don't want to do that.
That's fair.
I'm just saying though that I don't expect the cook to have a bullseye eye when it comes to a sniper rifle.
Right. Yeah. But to push back a little bit, Chuck, but the thing is that the Christian world rallied around them.
I agree.
And actually, in many ways, stood up and stepped up and
so
said,
this is my
you're going to
part.
have to run over me.
Yeah.
And we're going to defend them.
So here's my second part to answer that question. When the Christian world stood up, they should have noticed that Chick-fil-A shouldn't have had to fight this battle. It wasn't just supporting Chick-fil-A that we should have did. We should have put some stopgap.
Pastors should have been like, we should have been calling on pastors. Where are you guys at?
Thank you.
But I would still say, I think a lot of them did. I think a lot. I mean,
what were the stopgaps that we put in place so that Christian businesses wouldn't have to deal with this? Trump? That was our best stopgap?
Yeah. But I think we were. I mean, I think in terms of, the way that
we employed Chick-fil-A with weapons is what we did.
Employed them?
We gave them weapons.
Like what?
So we stood behind them and gave them money. We bought chicken sandwiches. Say, all right, Chick-fil-A, go fight for us.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they were fighting for us, though.
They were. That was. Oh yeah, the war had come right to their front door.
But they weren't. They haven't been doing any fighting. All they've been doing is waving a flag.
They have indirectly been fighting for us. They have indirectly been fighting for us. And
I think we said we're going to stand behind you as you take the stand. But they had already pulled out of funding political stuff 5 years ago.
Yeah.
They said we're gonna not fund any political stuff anymore, any political parties anymore, because they got in trouble for what was it
Was it Proposition 8?
It might have been Proposition 8 in California. There was.
Oh yeah, I do.
So
remember.
they pulled out of that stuff before, and we didn't. Nobody lessened their support for them.
Right.
So I don't think that they were fighting. I think they were a symbol, a sign of I'm going to do my business as a Christian. Leave me alone. And I think a bunch of Christians came in and said, let's fight for that right, because we got bakers, we got candlestick makers, we got photographers, we got all this stuff, wedding venue people, and that's where the fight was taking place. Mm-hmm. And I also think the number of pastors standing up and saying, hey, we need to get busy on this.
I think what they just did was saying Chick-fil-A is not in this particular fight.
Yeah. I think
that's what they just did.
I think of them though as they were the guy carrying the flag in the fight.
Okay.
They weren't actually fighting. I think
You don't think they were doing anything to
I think they were just the flag.
Pursue.
I think they were a flag. Yeah, they were not pursuing.
I think that a lot of people looked at Chick-fil-A as a way of engaging.
Yeah.
And that's part of it.
Sure. And I would say, down the list of things, is it something? Sure. But I don't think that's
because the domino effect that happens here is not this that Chick-fil-A is. Look, you can make your decisions of how you want to support, what you want to support, and all that stuff. But you need to do it, like Gabe said, knowing that there is implications to this.
Right.
And one of the implications now are for people who are starting nonprofit organizations who want to be successful and know that the biblical standard is the thing that's driving them. It's to make that veneer look very thin.
Right.
So now if you want to get money from the organization, your hardcore principles are tucked deep and back and underneath.
Right.
And the only thing you're promoting now is their therapeutic moralistic deism.
Yeah.
That's what you have to look like you're supporting.
Which is exactly what these areas of donations are focusing on.
That's my point.
Yeah, it's bland and it's generic,
right.
And there's nothing uniquely biblical about it. The thing that I think maybe this is what you're getting at, or maybe this is a slight tangent, but I think what this does is it it becomes a demoralizing thing on both sides for other Christian businesses that are running their business according to biblical principles, looking for the support of people for their success as a business, but also just as their existence. And what this teaches the mob is that if you scream long enough and loud enough, they'll capitulate. And so it goes both ways. So the businesses now start to doubt the support of the people, and the people start to support the integrity of the businesses. I don't know if I want to throw my support behind this other Christian business, because what happens when they capitulate? They capitulate. Now just giving a bunch of energy and stuff to this. I mean, I think you still do that in good faith efforts, because we have to fight, and we be faithful to fight, even if the Lord doesn't give us victories.
And here's the broader picture. I think Christians have been cowed into a corner when they think if their business stands up against some sort of cultural sexual revolution, that they think they're going to lose money. But the Chick-fil-A has demonstrated that that's not the case. If you actually stand up against cultural sexual revolution, whichever way, Christians actually come in and buy your chicken sandwiches the next day. And this is where I think we're in a situation in our economy. If Christians, courage begets courage, and if Christians their businesses actually start standing up against the sexual revolution or wherever God has called them to fight, or be a good example to, that their company's actually going to get blessed. We're still not in a situation where you're going to get persecuted and your money's going to get taken away yet.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is I think this really, that's one of the disheartening things about this whole thing. Like, I don't really care. You go buy a chicken sandwich wherever you want today. I'm like,
preferably
except for Popeyes.
But the thing is, I think it's disheartening, because I think people have stepped up, have stepped in.
That's right.
Really in an intentional way, saying, "Hey, we're with you." And then them to say, "But we're not with you." Is the message that's been telegraphed in this last week.
Now, if let's say that they really don't see this, like, I don't, the thing about capitulating is especially when you're in this kind of fight and you're a Christian, you're not thinking in your head, "How can I capitulate?"
Oh no,
that's not how you think. How can I compromise? That's never how it works. What you're trying to do is figure out how to advance. And in the process of advancing, you end up doing things that how can we take the next hill? Exactly.
So that's my point about the whole, like, the only thing they mention in there, two things they mention in their statement. One is we want to communicate clearly. And number two, we want to get into new markets. Okay. That appears to be the hills that they want to take.
Well, they don't want the LGBTQ,
and I would say that's a wrong-headed way of thinking about this.
If you're at Chick-fil-A and they say, "Listen, the people who are out there in the world think that we're absolute hate group. I don't care what's been going on, how much we say we're not. They all think that we hate homosexuals and gays and women and all this other stuff and trans. So how do we communicate to them, if it is a communication issue, that we don't hate them? Even if everything we're doing now." And the only way they can see that is how we're dispersing our funds and what we give to. So then how do we communicate that? What would you tell them?
Answer I would give is keep doing exactly what you've been doing. Don't stop what you're doing. And what I mean by that is, they're the ones that open on Sunday when there's a hurricane.
That's right.
To give out chicken sandwiches, right? And I would say the thing that you got to get is, when you stand for the truth, Jesus said they will hate you. There is absolutely no way to convince people who hate the gospel and hate Christ and hate biblical morality. There is no way to convince them that you're not a hate group, apart from the grace of God. Now, everybody else with eyes open knows that Chick-fil-A businesses are the friendliest, kindest, most generous businesses out there. They are committed to serving you well. They're the easiest people to work with. They're generous, and they have that kind face. I think that's what they need to be told, is that, look, you already actually have that reputation among any reasonable human being.
That's absolutely.
Even reasonable liberals, who are on the left side of the aisle. They know that Chick-fil-A is a reasonable people. They're humanitarian, that they care about homelessness and education and so on. And so I think if I was standing in the boardroom with them, I would say, keep doing what you're doing. Hold the line.
And lean into it.
And I would say, and what I mean by keep doing what you're doing is, including things like keep doing what you believe in. And I would say, wherever you do see a strategic thing to support it. Even if it's going to draw the ire of the people, because that's what it's simultaneously going to do, is draw the support and encouragement of your people.
Well, lastly here, I think, as Christians, whoever's listening, if you got money, if you got a thriving business, you find ways to help other people fight culture. This might sound a little self-promotional here, but this is, why we're doing Cross Politic, is because we're trying to lean in and we're trying to fight specific battles in politics and culture. And if there's a good, school in your region, good Christian classical school in your region, find a way to support them. If there's, be strategic in how you support different initiatives or different ministries or different endeavors, because we got to find a place to fight.
I remember when we talked to Mike Giroux, the CEO of C12. One of the things we talked to him about the whole Chick-fil-A thing in San Antonio Airport, and he was working on that. And the thing that he pointed out to us is that Christian companies that fly the flag of being a Christian company have a lot better, are actually more politically protected than a company that tries to hide it, kind of camouflage it.
Yeah.
Because what'll happen is, so Glad immediately comes out and says, okay, this is not enough. You need to demonstrate that your company is going to be affirming. Yeah. And I think Glad is actually right in the sense of Chick-fil-A is not safe as they back away from Christian principles. They are putting themselves in more and more danger. And because what's the standard by which they're doing things? Mm-hmm. If you run the flag up and say, we're a Christian company, we believe in biblical values, deal with it. Right. They're going to hate you. But when they take you to court and you've consistently run that play, following biblical values, then you can't be called a bigot.
Right.
I mean,
you're being consistent with your founding documents.
They'll call you a bigot.
Right.
But no consistency on the other side there.
But the reasonable heads in the room will at least see you've been consistent with your values. Yeah. But if you say, oh no, we just believe in everybody, we love everybody, and then all of a sudden you say, I'm sorry, Mr. Trans guy, we can't let you go into our Chick-fil-A women's room. Yeah. And then he sues you because you welcome everybody. Right. You have no foot to stand on.
Right. That's right. Because there's no religious principles backing you up.
You surrendered your principles.
Right. Yeah.
And so I saw it's a word for Chick-fil-A. I'm like, you guys are putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be backed into a corner.
Yeah. I think this conversation too is a little bit ahead of what we see happening. So, and this is where it's important. A lot of people
that's
who
what
are
we
looking
have
at
to do is
we have to.
You have to
that's what I want to say.
3 and 4 chess moves down the road.
Yeah, 5 or 6, because these guys know what they're doing, right? Yeah. Right. Jamming,
No, they know what they're doing.
They're converting us.
But this is my word to all the other Christian businesses. You're in Christian business out there. Yeah. You need to be thinking like this.
And remember, Mike Giroux said, in your business bylaws, you need to have Christian principles guiding all of that so that you have something to lean on. Don't start drawing them in later because you see the culture changing.
Because that itself is being hypocritical.
That's exactly right.
And they'll latch onto that, those little hypocrisies.
Yeah.
We're not Christian. And then suddenly, oh no, we are Christian.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not being consistent.
And there's a reason why Chick-fil-A matters in this. When
Chick-fil-A does matter. Oh, you come around.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but the reason that it's mattering is because really we haven't been fighting on the right fronts for so long, and we're getting eroded all the way back, and now Chick-fil-A is like one of our last stopgaps.
Right? Yeah. Who knew that? That would be our.
That's the
hill we're fighting on.
Since that's the case, since that is the case, we better fight there. So absolutely. I'm not saying don't fight there. I'm just saying that in the scheme of things, we shouldn't even had to. Man, we should have been fighting.
It's an indictment of our failures.
Yes, and so look. Art matters because it proclaims the gospel. And Chick-fil-A are artists. They create taste, they create smells, they create environment and culture, and it shapes how you feel about something, and you want to be there, and it reminds you of something. Yeah. And what they're reminding you of is the glory of God in the world when you taste a chicken sandwich.
Amen.
The beauty that God gave you in taste buds. Yeah. The glory of the creation.
Did you say anything about the lemonade yet?
The lemon, oh my goodness, the tea, the mac and cheese. Have y'all tasted any mac and cheese?
I haven't had that mac and cheese yet.
I want to know the fat black lady in the back with the fat on the arm who's making that mac and cheese, because that's amazing stuff. Listen, I'm telling you, so when they do that, they are proclaiming in one way or another the beauties of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Yeah. And so the reason that they matter is because they want to unhinge that. Yeah. Like they want to do an Andy Stanley to this.
Yeah.
Unhitch, right? And so that's why this battle matters. And Chick-fil-A needs to know that what they're making is not neutral. Right.
And this is the thing that this is the play that secularists run everywhere.
That's right.
Right. The great heresy of the public education system, government schools, the great heresy is that you can learn about everything in the world divorced from God.
That's right.
That's the heresy. Yeah. They don't for decades they were not anti-God. It was just God was absent. Now
Right.
they've gotten more and more anti-God
Yeah.
explicitly. But the deepest heresy is you can have good things
Without God.
without the good God.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the lie. You
Yeah.
cannot have good things
And
without
Chick-fil-A
the
needs
good
to
God.
scream that you can't have the good things
Yeah,
without a good God. They
And
need
this
to
is what
scream
this is
that.
what Romans 1 says, right? You know there's a God and you refuse to give him thanks.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Amen.
don't want this battle to be at our businesses, but this is where we're at. This is
Yeah.
where we need to fight at.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
impeachment game is gonna have to wait until
Friday.
guys.
Yeah.
So if you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids, and if you have kids, go baptize them until Sunday. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast to the glory of God. This is Cross Politics.
Trump says, I want nothing. I want nothing.
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 We'll do it live.
You know what nothing means? Everything. That's what nothing means.